This is Stars and Scopes with your friend Uma, updated every new and full moon with guidance based on planetary transits in the current sky and extra support from tarot. For accuracy, take a look at your rising sign first if you know it, and do feel free to listen to your sun, moon and rising if you'd like the full picture. If you're interested in your birth chart, check out the readings page at umaruby.com. And if you'd like to support the work, head over to buymeacoffee.com/umaruby and you can buy me a coffee. Finally, if you're a visual learner, look up Uma Ruby Tarot on YouTube and you can watch and learn. Okay, let's take a look. Hello Taurus and Taurus rising, welcome to your horoscope for the full moon in Aquarius, happening on August the 12th at 11:36 a.m. if you're in the southern hemisphere with me. So in terms of spell work and in terms of manifestation, maybe not so much with the full moon. Remember, it's a time to release. I'm confusing myself here. Release and to let go and to give back and to celebrate if things have worked out beautifully for you. That would be the time of the evening of the 11th or the evening of the 12th, either side. Because the full moon's happening at lunchtime for us, it's important to I like to physically feel and work with the energy of the moon. So either one of those evenings will be great to get underneath the cooling light and cast your spells. So how was your triple conjunction? It would have been, could have been quite profound for you. Remember 2 weeks ago at the Leo new moon, we talked about Mars and Uranus and the North Node forming that triple conjunction, that three-parter, three musketeers sort of energy that was quite revolutionary and quite passionate and a point of focus for us. If we zoom out for a moment and if we consider what Taurus means in terms of collective consciousness, Taurus represents the land. It represents Earth, the physical space where we're here, where we are here right now. Let's take a look at the Australian experience of that for a moment and think about the Indigenous voice to Parliament and the commitment and the conviction of this notion moving forward. And it seems at this point that it's going to be actioned and it's going to be something that is written in the dusty old papers of legislation, finally. And think about Uranian energy, think about revolution, think about Mars energy and passion and commitment and forward-moving, quick energy. And think about the North Node and what we need to focus on. I explain this to you because that's a really good example of these aspects taking place and the energy that's amongst us that we can work with for positive outcome. On your singular experience, Taurus is your first house if you're a Taurus rising. So this is soul work, this is soul mapping, this is soul evolution and rebellion. I wonder if there's been light bulb moments for you as far as what indeed it is that you are here for. And if that's been a ever-ending quest for you lately, that's completely understandable and completely recognized in astrological terms. The eclipses will still be playing out until July 2023. So there is going to be some more dust being kicked up and all of that kind of stuff in terms of your soul purpose, your soul mapping. I hope and I am encouraged to remind you that the activation of Uranus and Mars and the North Node, this tower moment, if we want to talk tarot speak, is going to, in the long term, be something really beneficial for you. And really, if we can keep holding the faith, it's very difficult sometimes for people that have been ostracized from religious traditions to have a concept of faith. It's something that I, for most of my life, Well, actually, no. When I was young, I had all the faith in Mother Nature. I had all the faith in my abilities to talk to animals and the trees. It was life experience that reminded me or told me of how unwelcome I was in some spaces, particularly when it comes to faith, particularly when it comes to belief in a system greater than ourselves, as above, so below. I say this because I have my heart set on making you Taurians feel all right during this. I really do. Let's go back to the moon. Let's talk about the Aquarian moon for a moment. So this is a moment to release and to let go and to give back to Luna and let her deal with it in a lot of ways. So Aquarius is in a conjunction with Saturn at the moment again, and they are forming a square with this conjunction, this triple conjunction that's happened. Mars is quick moving, so Mars is moving on. The energy is a ripple effect and it will be felt for some time. This square is some more added pressure. So Aquarius for Taurians rules the 10th house of career and of the most public self, the space most visible, and also the space where you build legacy. The part of it's less to do with, I guess, because there's a whole bunch of different ways to earn money, isn't there? This is to do with your service, if you put it that way. Your career, your mission. So the tarot card for where the moon is in Aquarius at 19 degrees is the Six of Swords. So we're going to focus in on this energy for the zodiac, and then I'll move on to some intuitive tarot, but I think we only need just one for these readings. The Six of Swords is, swords, remember, are thoughts, their intelligence, their messages, they're also recurring voices, they're sort of, misconstrued perception. This card is an activation and a commitment to move away from something that is choppy and something that is turbulent. If you can see, the water here is in very different state to the water that they're moving to. So water is our emotions. So this is a firm commitment to move away from something that is stressful and that is unwelcoming and that is causing you grief. Relate that to your 10th house, to your career, your public face. I would suggest that with Saturn's energy in Aquarius, Saturn rules Aquarius, Saturn's very at home there. The way that we can look at Saturn in these, in this particular setup is boundaries. So look at these swords in terms of boundaries that you have to keep your safe distance from turbulence and from combustive emotional experiences. Aquarian energy is also to do with sort of collective consciousness, humanity, and also friendship circles and things like that. So this might be an example of you actively extracting yourself from a space that feels just too combustive to really gain some clarity. And you can physicalize that clarity with the moon. You can take that moment with her and, give back all of these weights that you just don't need anymore. If things have been difficult to conceive in terms of your career or in terms of your public face, I know that these last years have been a great example for a lot of different people as to the shift that had to happen in terms of what they used to do for a living or what they used to focus on, what they did consider their most public face to be, and the necessity to shed that and to let it go and to put that to rest in order to move to the next cycle. I feel a lot of that energy. I feel a lot of really palpable progress at this full moon. I look forward to experiencing it myself. I filmed these like a week or so before, but using the astrology as a guide, that's kind of part of the magic trick, I guess, of prediction and things like that, is to assess what is happening above and how that's relating to us below. And because of the oracle that we have in front of us at all times, we've got so much power in our little devices and things. There's so much information that we can find if we need it. We can look forward, and we can, astronomy and astrology used to go hand in hand. In the ancient days, there was no difference. The ancient perspective of the planetary bodies, before they were a space to be colonized, before they were a space to shoot rockets to the moon and to sort of put a whole bunch of junk in the cosmos, they were emblems of consciousness, and they were mathematically charted. And I think in some ways I feel no, I'm not going to say that. No, forget it. I am an astrologer in training. That's a nice affirmation. So yes, back to the moon. Let's work with this point of this direction and decision to move away from turbulence in the career zone. There could be something to do. You're working with people that just, it's not gelling anymore, or there was perhaps some sort of combat because of that square. There could have been some of this residual fire or rebellion that spat out, to Aquarius, to your 10th house, your career, your public self. This could also have to do with how you're perceived. That's a really great way to describe the 10th, because it's the space in which we are recognized or seen. So perhaps there's a revolution happening there for you too. Perhaps there's you don't want to, as far as your identity or as far as your, the way that people relate to you, that could be going through some big shifts and changes too. And I'd encourage that because of the astrology. That's a really, and because of all of this turbulence in your first house, this is the time. This is the time to move and to claim who it is that you are. That's the zodiac. That's the astrology. Okay, Taurus, I'm going to pull you some intuitive tarot for a message in the right here, right now. Perhaps some of this you can take with you on your full moon journey. If you do read tarot yourself, it might be a really good thing to sleep with the Six of Swords card and to receive the messages in dreamland. That could be another way of understanding it, of kind of really, if it's, what I'm saying is sort of like the missing links can be found there. Oh, I got 4 cards. Yes, I will take them all. I'll put my modern witch back here. So Taurus, I got the 7 of Pentacles. I got the 9 of Cups, the 4 of Cups, and the Chariot. Yes, 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 yes. We can read this beautifully. So 7 of Pentacles has been in our experience for some time, hasn't it? Because that's where the North Node was there, and also Uranus travelled to the 7 of Pentacles, but then has moved back to the 6. The 7 is the weight, isn't it? It's sort of having planted seeds and sort of thinking to yourself, well, when is this thing going to grow? It's almost about impatience. But there is a measure of time in this card that we must remember to, especially when we've got so many swords going on and so many thoughts and so much anxiety, that the 7 of Pentacles actually can be a really grounding energy to sort of remember that everything in its time and place, and that you've done the work and you're doing, you've done the activation process. And so now the moment is to take a moment and to let nature do its thing. You got the 9 of Cups and the 4 of Cups. So I would suggest here that there is something about, this is you here. If you can see the 9 of Cups, this is a moment of reflection and pride in your ability to be emotionally literate. This is looking around and being thankful for all that you have become in your water body, in your ability to emotionally regulate, in your ability to emotionally express. This is someone who has a lot of time and a lot of guidance to give. This is maybe a nice reminder for you to rest in your emotional abilities. The 4 of Cups is talking about not taking any further, I was going to say burden, that's the wrong word, but any more emotional investment. It might be the moment to not take anything, practice those Saturn boundaries. This card sort of emulates that sort of notion. Sit in the meditation as you're waiting for the seeds to grow, as you've made the appropriate alterations to your experience, to your public self, to the situation at hand. You're in process, I think, is really what's coming through to me quite strongly here, Taurus. So you're in process. Relish in this process and relish in the space of meditation, because the time to act, the time to sort of move ahead and to charge forward and to activate and to emotionally express, as we're not doing here in the Four of Cups. This is not about that. The Chariot is all about that. The Chariot is about moving ahead in our Cancer vibe. Cancer is, the sort of, excuse me, Cancer is cardinal water. So it's forward movement. It's about expressing and feeling. And this is going to start happening for you all in good time, I think, is the biggest message here for you tonight, Taurus. All in good time. So at this Aquarian full moon, I want you to let go of what you need to in regard to your most public self. Kiss it back to the moon, because the shedding has begun and is continuing with the eclipses, with this triple conjunction, with your progress. There's the sand. That's the end. Much love to you, Taurus. That was a really nice one. I'm with you, darling, and couldn't be prouder. I feel like Jupiter or Bernadette Peters sitting in their balcony and watching you sing your aria. Go for it. Much love. If you want to tip me, you can always do that at buymeacoffee.com/Uma Ruby. There's a section there you can just throw some money in the tip jar. They're always very gratefully received. If you'd like your birth chart read, I'd be more than willing and happy to do so. Head to umaruby.com and pick a journey. Until I speak to you in 2 weeks for the Virgo new moon, I love you, Taurus, and I'll speak to you then. Bye.